Call this regular meeting on December the 2nd, 2016, of the Lee County Board of Supervisors together. I'd like to ask Larry Golan to come forward, and I think he has a few things he'd like to say.
Thank you. I'm Larry Golan, President of the Keokee High School Alumni Association. Appreciate you changing the agenda to allow me to say my piece. I've got to be in Kingsport for 7:30, so I just wanted to thank the board for the grant that you made, voted on and made in November. Tell you that that's going to allow us to put the septic system back in the gymnasium there in Keokee. And it's going to open the doors to many venues or avenues. Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, Bill Skeen from Maximum Engineering will be meeting me in Kingsport. Going to work up a plan for us. I'll probably be back next month to get your approval. According to the health department, that's the procedure that we need to follow. And they said if you approve it, then they would approve it also. Just some of the things that we got down talking about and got in mind. Concerts, bluegrass and gospel. Wrestling, I know that's going to hit a sour note with some people, but to be a moneymaker. Bingo, auctions, that sort of thing. So it's really going to open things up, and I think it's going to make Keokee come to the front again. I also just like to, I'm going to be brief, I've got all kinds of notes. Just like to thank you and express my appreciation. Last 10 years, I've been involved in 4 counties, 3 cities or towns, and with local governments in some way. But this board has been more congenial, easier to work with than anybody that I've talked to, and I certainly appreciate citizens of Keokee, appreciate all you're doing. And believe me, I let them know, I let the whole county know, people in Kingsport know, everybody knows what you've done and what you've done for our little community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Okay, department reports, economic development.
Sharon, I'll just go ahead and give both of them.
Okay.
They're both going to be very brief. I just made some bullet points on this. During the time since position's been vacant, the representatives from the Virginia Economic Development Partnership came down on November 3rd to look at the county primarily. We showed them the Constitutional Oaks building. Some of them had been there previously, but this is an annual trip they make down. They bring about 15 people down that just look around, sort of refreshes their memory. We did have the flyer that you have in front of you available for them to be able to see. It gives some of the specs on the building itself and what's available. Of course, that flyer was developed by Newmark Grubb Knight Frank, which is a consultant that was hired by the IDA. They've been given an exclusive marketing contract on the building for the next 2 years. So they are actively working that. I'll tell you just a little bit more about that in just a minute. Also attended a meeting at UVA Wise regarding the possible creation of a regional economic development partnership organization, for lack of a better term to use for it. This is about the 3rd meeting that's been held on this. It's been sort of loose trying to put things together, but to determine if it's something that would be beneficial and how it would play in with the existing organizations that are already marketing in this area. Also attended a regional economic developers meeting at VCETA in late November, just very informal, but did gather with the other economic developers from the Coalfields regions for a couple of hours. Attended the October IDA meeting. I was unable to attend November and December meetings due to conflicting schedules, so nothing really going on that much that it made much difference. As I said, the consultant, Newmark Grubb Knight Frank, they continue to seek prospects for the Shell building. They completed a regional 3-state canvass of all existing businesses during the past quarter. This actually, a lot of that work through the contract that the IDA has with them, the marketing portion of it, the payment was made by VCTA on the county's behalf. They are also doing the same thing for a shell building that's available in Russell County. But it was pretty comprehensive when you look at all the companies they contacted in Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky about the possibility of having plans for expansion or something of that nature. Unfortunately, they didn't get a lot that were looking to do that, but they do have records of those who possibly may be looking at that. And they're also doing nationwide marketing of the building. So they report basically on about a monthly basis, just send an email stating what they've been able to do. If they've had found a prospect that shows some potential or something of that nature. So we'll continue to follow up with them. That's about all I have on the economic development side. On the tourism, really haven't done much in that area. I have not been able to schedule a tourism committee since the previous director left. I hope to schedule one in January. There's been some conflicts with some of the committee members that in at least 1 month, and I've had conflicts in the others. The social media sites have not been updated since the director's departure, and the staffing in our office has been depleted 25 to 50% over the last 3 months. So we are just now, in the past week, we've just gotten back to full force in our office. So we may be able to look at some of those issues and try to help a little bit without being able to go out in the field and make the contacts and get updates and things on some of the sites. It's hard to really update much on the social media sites. At this point, that's about all I've got.
Question, has Kitty Barker worked with you in any way this?
Yes, I've got a call from her last week and an email follow-up yesterday on getting some information for their advertising for this coming year.
On that shell building report, Dane, who all gets that?
What do you mean? Oh, it comes to me.
Who all they
It comes to me, but it's very brief. Like I say, I can share it with you if you'd like me to. I can send it forward
I'd
it
be
on when I
interested
get
just
that.
to see what they,
Okay.
that's the group we met with down there, correct?
Yes. Yes. I'll forward you whatever I get from them.
Okay, constitutional officers report, we got the treasurer's report, public expression. Have anybody here who wants to public expression tonight? Okay. Approval of minutes. We have the minutes, take a motion, second to look at them, and if you think they look okay, I'll open the floor for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Minutes are approved. Approval of refunds. We got 4 refunds that are here to be approved tonight. Take a moment or two to look at the refunds that need to be made, and if you have any questions concerning those. If you have any, address the questions to Mr. Poe. If not, then we'll approve them. Floor for a motion to approve the refunds.
Do we need one for each, or?
You can do them together.
I'll make a motion to approve all 4 refunds.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, the county administrator's report that the payroll warrants have been issued. And then we have approval of disbursements. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None being, motion is approved. Okay, delegations. I think we have a delegation here tonight. Mountain Empire Community College. Dr. Hamilton.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to give you a quick update here. I'll try to be as brief as I can. Quick enrollment update, just received yesterday our most current report from the VCCS on enrollment. We finished the year last fall down about 5% from what we had last year, which is pretty much in keeping with the trend throughout the state. The overall average for the VCCS as a whole was about 5% down too. So we have been able to stave that off for the last couple of years and keep it pretty well level or up it a little bit last year. But I think the trend has finally caught up with us, and some schools are up, some schools are down throughout the state, but the vast majority of them are down, and we're on the negative side during the fall term, and that has been true for the last 3 years. So I think the economy in our area has kind of caught up with us and other things, so we're going to see a decline in enrollment this year overall. It remains to be seen in the spring what's going to happen. Early returns are everybody's down right now. It's too early in the year to really have spring enrollments yet. This is just a comparison with where we are today or Monday versus where we were a year ago Monday. And we're showing about a 14% decrease, but if you look down the list, there's some schools showing 15, 21, 23, 28, 17 down. It's really too early to tell, but I anticipate we're going to be down in the spring as well. We'll just have to see how it works out.
I think UVA wise, do you have any figures on those?
They are down somewhat.
They are?
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't have the actual figures. I've just heard that they're slightly down over what they had before.
Is a lot of that due to population decrease?
There's a lot of factors
Because
involved.
most of yours is commuting, and then like UVA, they got dorms, townhouses.
There's a lot of factors that impact community college enrollment. The condition of the economy in the region affects it. If the economy is really bad, many times we'll get more people coming in to get certifications and get retrained and go back to work, but that usually happens right after a downturn. And then as things linger, people move out of the area to find work and we start losing enrollment. I know Wise County lost over 600 students this year from the previous year. So when you take 600 students out of the high school population, and that's going to have an impact on us long term.
It's way more than 5% of your enrollments.
Yeah, it's going to have an impact. It's going to be a challenge to keep our enrollments up in the next few years. We're also facing budget cuts from the state. As you're probably familiar, the governor's announced Friday that there will be 5% cuts across the board for all state agencies, including higher education this time. We were excluded through the first cuts for this fiscal year, but then he came back and did actually do a small cut, but we were able to easily absorb that through our contingency funds at the college. And we're fine, we're in the black, but we're going to have to look at FY18, and we knew this was coming, so we sat down with the administrative team and worked out a plan. And of course, we're going to plan for the worst and hope for the best. As right now, revenue's starting to come back up for the state. And if revenue increases to the point where we meet or exceed their projections, the last time they told us we had to have a 5% and then the next year 7%, it turned out to be 2.2% and nothing the next year because they wound up with a budget surplus at the end of the first year. We're hoping that'll happen again because the economy's starting to turn around, it seems like. And if increased defense spending always helps Virginia, and if the new administration comes in and ramps up defense spending, that could help the state's revenues there too. So we'll just have to wait and see. We're planning. We have been able to, through all the downturns, reduce our staff and our costs through attrition and enhanced retirement, and have not had to lay. There were a few positions that were eliminated, but very few. And with our plan for next year, we think we continue to do that, and through attrition, not have any layoffs, not have to do a RIF. So we'll wait and see what happens and hope for the best. But I'm confident that we're going to be able to make the budget reductions that the governor has asked us to make without a severe impact on the college. A couple of good news. At the president's meeting last week, they handed out a sheet showing there's a lot of emphasis on workforce education today and providing certifications for people to go to work in different fields. Mountain Empire Community College down here in this end of the state is number 2 in the state of Virginia in terms of workforce education certifications. We're over between 400 and 500. I don't remember the exact number. It was a week ago. Sometimes I can't even remember what I ate yesterday. But we are number 2 in the state. And when you consider Richmond and the Eastern Shore and all of that up through Northern Virginia, that's a pretty good accomplishment for a small rural community college. Another thing outstanding, Mountain Empire this fall completed their most recent capital campaign. We had set a goal of $8 million. We exceeded that and brought in $9.2 million in our capital campaign for the foundation. That money will go to provide funding for scholarships or help to support our AIMS scholarship program. We just partially funded a new simulation lab on our campus for healthcare programs that have all these. They have a baby simulator, they have a simulator of a mother giving birth that actually gives birth to a baby. It's all computerized and controlled by somebody in a booth, and the mannequins talk to you and groan and move and blink their eyes, and they do all kinds of things. It's really fascinating to watch it. So that is going to be used by most of our healthcare programs, particularly nursing. And we just received notice last week also from the SACS accreditation body, which this is a big deal because without accreditation, you can't award degrees. And so that's a big deal. We pay a lot of attention to SACS and our accreditation through them. And we went through our 10-year 5 years ago, so we came up this year for our 5-year accreditation visit. And they came back with a few recommendations, not really very many. I was surprised, very pleasantly surprised. We responded to those, and the board reviewed all of our responses at the December meeting and gave Mountain Empire a clear 5-year accreditation review. So we're good standing with SACS, and we'll not have to go through review again until our next tenure, which will be 5 years down the road. So, but we're already working on that because it's a big deal. It takes a lot of work and time of our staff to do that. So that's my report tonight. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer.
On the certification part that you was talking about, somebody mentioned that about them implementing a bunch of grant funds from the mines on getting the miners actually certified and stuff. Will that help you all quite a bit?
We are right now. That's coming down or came down through a grant program. I'm trying to remember the name of it.
It was something to do with the mines.
Yeah, there was money that was
certified.
Power grants is what they were called.
Certification. I didn't know if y'all get a lot of benefit out of that or not due to the area.
We are, many of those grants are not just single colleges, they're a regional approach. The federal government wanted you to be consortiums of colleges and industry and businesses in the region get together and write those grants. We were a partner with a grant and helped write it. It's being headed up by Southwest Community College, and it's on cybersecurity, training people for cybersecurity jobs. That's the one that we was awarded and we are a participant in. So, in fact, we just interviewed a person, 2 people last week, to fill a position that will be working in that area in our IT department. So, we're working on that. We have put in 2 proposals that are partnerships with 2 of the local communities. Up in Wise, we partnered with Wise County Board to put in a community block development grant proposal for $200,000 to help us get a power grant. And that's all out there waiting on response from the federal government. We also one of those was to look at cybersecurity training. The other one was to look at helping train people for Frontier Secure, helping pay for the people to go through they have to have certain classes at Mountain Empire, and if they get those classes, they're guaranteed a job interview up at Frontier Secure. And some of them qualify for financial aid, but some don't, and we're trying to help those that don't get financial aid by using some of these grant funds to do that. And we're waiting on that. We haven't received that yet. We're still waiting to hear from the folks that manage that to let us know if we've been approved. So those are 2 things we've put in. the power grant, cybersecurity. With Big Stone Gap, we put in a proposal for another $200,000 community block development grant to help establish a power line groundman lineman training program that will train people to work on power lines. You know, you see the guys out climbing poles, putting up wires, that kind of stuff. Very high paying jobs, but again, those are all up in the air. We're waiting on a response from the folks that manage those grants. Don't know if we'll get them or not. It's very competitive, and other places are applying for different things, and the federal government decides what they're going to fund and what they're not. So, other questions? All right. Wish you all a Merry Christmas. Enjoy the holidays.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell.
Okay, look like we have a big congregation here from the election board. Y'all want to come on up?
Thank you. My name is Gerald Williams, and I'm one of the electoral board members, and we want to thank you all for the privilege to come in front of you with a request. And the request that we are asking for is just more room. You know, in our office down there, and what we do, and whenever we get ready for an election, you got to get a lot of things ready to go out to these precincts. They got to be in boxes, and different things. So this is what we're talking about. And at this time, I'll introduce you all to the other board members. This is Gary Williams here. This is Lori Rouse. And this is the registrar, which is Patsy Birchie. And this is her assistant, which is Teresa Franklin. So I just wanted to let you all know who these folks were. And but anyway, that's what it boils down to. We don't know where we're going with this, but it's something we really wanted to plant a seed here and get started with you all, have a rapport with you to to see what we can do.
Jerome will pass these pictures around.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it's any question about those pictures, we, be glad for you to ask what they are and whatnot.
These pictures show the space that they don't have, right?
Well, some of those pictures there now is just in the room as you turn off in the first hallway as you come in, there, those blue tubs. Those are the things that goes out that each one of the election officials has to come in. You pick them up, and that's where they have to be sworn in. And it's just a lot of, stuff piled up, around the wall, and you don't have room to even hardly walk in there. Well, that's the reason you'll come in sometime, and different people here that works in the courthouse. It's like a judge come in one day, and he walked in. He said, "What is all of this?" I said, "Well, this is, what we're working on to try to get prepared to go out, And it was sitting out here in the hallway over from the restrooms. And it's not a good place for that to be.
Well, Mr. Weber, so what is it you wanted to move to another?
We'll be willing to
facility
do
or-
anything, just as far as we need about twice as much room or 2.5 times the square footage is really what we need. And another thing that we've got, it's a new machine sitting down here, one of the new voting machines that's got the ballots in it that we think, that the state will require us to go to. Okay, those machines are not going to be like the older machines that you take and fold down and stack now. So you got to set them up, and they're going to be probably they're going to take up a space probably 2.5 foot, something like that. And then you can't stack them.
They're pretty large.
Yeah, we've got one down there if you want to look at the machine, and it may even be one, it may be a picture of it. Is it a picture of that, the new machine
No,
in there?
it's not.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this, is there any money come your way that could be used for warehousing?
Not that I know of. I mean, I don't know exactly how it all works except the requirements, that they put upon the county, to hold an election.
Is it the equipment that's really got you bogged down?
Well, it's here's what happens. Just like I'll give you an example. we had the fellow to come in before this last election to set up the machines, okay? Spooner Hole. Well, anyway, Larry was there, and here's a guy over on one side of the table. We got a little table, and he's got 2 machines sitting up on there that he's programming. Another guy over here, you know, Benny, who's carrying them in. And then I'm trying to watch what the guy is doing to try to see what's going on, you know, and try to learn something about it. Well, anyway, while I'm doing that, you know, they can't work. So anyway, he finally told me, he said, you're going to need to get out there in the hall. And here I am standing in the doorway trying to look and see what he done. Well, I'll give you a good example of what happened then. We had one machine, took it up to St. Charles. They had one machine to vote on that morning. Well, I got a call, you know, real early. I don't know, maybe, what time was it? You all called me. 15 minutes after 6 and said, you need to come to Jonesville to pick up a machine because they're going to have to do paper ballots. Do you get there with it? Well, on those referendums over there, whenever he had put it in and programmed it, he done the referendum number 1, he done it twice on that machine. So you didn't have a choice to go to the second referendums to vote on. So they done them by paper, and that slows everything down, gets everybody all tore up. I get up there with another machine, and then it has to be set up. You know, I mean, warmed up and all this, that, and other. And so, you know, that one instance right there had 2 or 3 people scrambling to try to get a machine.
Well, if they go to them big machines, there's no way you can store them down there. They won't fit.
No, but we just, you know, if you come down there and look, here we've got, you know, just like in those boxes that's prepared, there is the books that's in there, telephones, tissue paper, you name it. It's a lot of items that goes in each one of them boxes, and every one of those boxes, like the one up at Seminary, will be different than the one down at Dryden. Because the one at Dryden, we need a very long extension cord for the phone. And if somebody, you know, so that's the reason that you need to kind of watch what you're doing. You can't put the same list in every one of those boxes. Same thing down at, I think Ewing or something, they got different requirements. So, you know, the only thing that we're saying is we just need room and you know, put our heads together and try to work out something, you know, to where we can, you know, it don't have to be elaborate, you know, we just need room. I don't know what the answer to it is.
Like on our machines that we hope to get, they're not stackable. If you remove the head off the machine and try to put it somewhere, it's like it has a good possibility of being damaged while it's being removed or put back. So it is not recommended that they're stacked. So that's going to take up a tremendous amount of room when we try to put, like, we have to have 16 and then we need at least 4 spares. So when you take 20 machines, that's going to be a big space. And also on the machines, we have to do a security plan that is accepted by State Board of Elections. Right now, like Dane wanted to put our machines, or said we could put our machines upstairs here in the room that he gave us to store. We can't do that because I have a security plan that says my machines or our machines are kept in the registrar's office in the vault, locked at all times. Anybody that goes in that vault that's not one of us, we have to report that to State Board of Elections in case something comes up and something's wrong with those machines. So we can't just let our equipment go anywhere that we're not the only ones that have access to them. And then, like, pardon?
Would all the big machines fit in the safe?
No, we might get 4 or 5 in there.
How could you fix it?
We need more space, that's what we're saying.
Well, how could you fix it where you could lock it, is what I'm saying? I mean, you're saying it has to be under a
Vault or something that's got restricted access. No, I'm saying if you go to the bigger machines looking for a new space, you're saying you have to have some way that it's secured.
Locked in our office and nobody else have access to them.
So you can't get them all in your office.
No, that's the reason
So you have to have a new office.
we need more space. And also, even if it wasn't that, we're so cooped up, we don't have, when we're all there, we don't have time or space to turn around without bumping into somebody.
You're saying.
You was there,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
you and your wife was voting, there was 2 or 3 more in the office, and you
We
made
had
a
to go
comment.
outside.
You made a comment that we needed more space. So,
Well, Dane, is there any more space here in Fort Asphalt? Other rooms, other parts of the?
Well, to keep them all in one area, I mean, the spaces that we have got are scattered. We've got the temporary space quarters that you all were housed in when you first
that's
moved.
smaller than what we have now.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, you've got that space. We have primarily the empty spaces that we have around the west end of the 3rd floor, which is the furthest distance you have to travel in the building from any access point if you come in. So for voter registration and absentee voting, I would not recommend having it located at the furthest distance from any access point that you've got.
So we need to move you out of your.
You understand what I'm saying?
There you go. There you go.
Pardon?
Is there any,
Now, the storage space, some of that space could be converted. We could take out some walls. Those are not load-bearing walls. Those are just division walls, partition walls. That entire space down there actually could be opened up for secured storage. And you all could be the only one that would have access to that area. Now, that's still a good distance to have to transport the machines every time. Of course, they're on wheels, right? That's still a pretty good distance to have to transport them because they're on the 3rd floor, or 2nd floor, we renumbered. They'd have to be moved up and down the elevator so many at a time and rolled in and out of the building.
And I don't think you want to do that because, you know, of what they cost.
Well, they asked me what options we
Yeah, I know,
had in the
but I'm
building.
saying,
I'm just trying to
I'm
explain
just
that.
saying that, you know, whenever you give that kind of money for those machines, you know, what is going to be the cost for the whole county, you know, on the machines? Just, you know, what is that figure? Now-
8,000, almost $9,000 per machine.
So you're going to have 20 of them.
do we have any vacant places, I mean, right here close by that available for lease that would house them?
I haven't looked for any, so I don't know what might be available. I've not been in the market for anything. There's empty buildings in town, but I don't know what they're made up of. And,
Do you all have any places that you know of? I know,
Well,
I've
we
been down there on
just-
several occasions, and I know what they're up against. I know, I don't take.
We just talked about it in the past, but here's what we didn't want to do. We didn't want to go out there and talk to somebody or, you know, get the word out and you all not know what's going on. We wouldn't do it without your all's permission to even talk to somebody.
That's what we was kind of asking y'all, to give us permission to go out and maybe scout around and see if we could find us a place that was suitable, that we felt was suitable to us, and then bring it back to you all and give y'all where it's at, a figure, a rental figure or a buyout figure or whatever, and see if we could all get together and work this thing out. Because as y'all know, Larry, every one of you's been in that office, and it's just cramped up. It's really cramped up when you get in there and try to work.
And right there in that little space, we have voter registration going on, we have absentee voting going on, we have to make pictures. We're photographers now, so we have to do pictures for people that don't have ID, so there's just no room.
There's not enough room the way it is.
No.
Worried about
And
the
a
machine.
lot of people think, you know, we just work at election time. We work November, December now, finishing up this election, and we start working on the next election. We have boxes coming in all the time that will start in January, coming for the next election, that we have to store and keep somewhere, you know, and because the state sends it in out of their way, because they can't, you know, store it for all the registrars in the state of Virginia, so they ship it on out to us. So we've got to have space. And there's more going on every day, more requirements, more forms.
And then too, whenever you have things like, you know, the recounts, if it's somebody, you know, we had a recount, And, you know, you don't have room down there to work. We move back here somewhere and, you know, at a table and this, that, and other. You got lawyers in there, you got different people from different parties and, you know, and this, that, and other. And, you know, some of them was standing out in the hall.
And when Gerald was talking about Mr. Hall asking him to move out, when I know Mr. Hall is coming to program machines, I'm required to contact the party chairman of each party and the electoral board. And if they want to come or send representatives, we have to give them access to see how the machines are being set up. So, and they're, you know, when we canvass, we are supposed to have room for a representative of every person that is on the ballot, or at the parties, one for each party, independents and everything. So we just don't have that space. I mean, we would be in violation of law.
You all have to be located here in Fort House?
Pardon?
You have to be here in Fort House?
No. No. We was in Mr. Montgomery's building for, that was supposed to be a temporary move, and we was down there about 15 years, so.
Why can't they look for?
Yeah, I'm 100% for you guys to go ahead and start looking and bring back what information you can from me. I don't see that we have any other choice.
Well, you all look too, because there's very little that I know of in Jonesville. I think we do need to remain in the county seat of, you know, Jonesville.
Oh, yeah.
I think that is a requirement. It used to be, everything's changed, but I still think that is a requirement.
Well, I think everybody's in agreement that very much needs to be looked at and taken care of.
Well, we'll start, you know, working on it too and see what we come up with. Then, you know, you all do the same and we'll just try to work together to try to get it resolved. And, you know, all we're here for tonight is really to plant that seed to say, you know, that we need help. Because it's not going to get done if we never, you know, we never move on it.
How many days out of the year would the machines actually be moved from the spot? I'm talking about the time you program them, you take them out to the sites, election, you bring them back. How many days are they usually?
It's on one day. It goes out on Monday, comes back on Tuesday night.
I'm talking about if you program and everything included.
The programmer comes within, he's within 30 days of the election.
So the only bad thing is if you had them stored somewhere else, you might have to bring them up here and program them, then re-secure them, then get them back out, and then
That's
take them
another
back
thing
out to the
that we're gonna
sides.
have to, you know, look toward it, how we're gonna move these machines, because they can't be picked up in the car anymore.
No, they're fairly, I liked it. I liked the actual paper ballot
Yeah.
on top of that way. If there's any question, it's
yeah.
there. But yeah, you're not just gonna throw 3 or 4 of them in the back of a car no more.
And
No, it's going to have to be something, you know, some way of moving them and take care of them.
And in some years, you'll have a special election, so that's another.
Well, you got town elections, you know,
Yeah.
it's,
Town elections,
you know, you got
general elections,
those,
primary,
Yeah.
yeah.
March, May, seems like we have election about every other month anymore.
Okay.
Okay, well, anyway, we thank you for your time and,
Well, thank you for bringing that up to us. And it is something I have wondered for many years how you guys got by with what you've done.
Stepping over each other
Yeah.
and let things fall on top of them.
Well, we've been discussing it, you know, trying to figure it out, but it's like you say, until we find the right solution.
well, and another thing, it may even, you know, we talked about here briefly, was, you know, maybe down there is if we could seal off that end of that hallway, you know, maybe take out those bathrooms, you know, right there on the corner. I mean, it's, you know, we're open to anything.
It's fine. Come up with
Okay?
something.
Okay.
Appreciate it, yes, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay, quarterly appropriations, that's the school thing?
Schools, social services, and Head Start.
Okay.
Make a motion. Approve quarterly appropriation 16-036.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None being, motion is approved.
Hey, speaking of court appropriations, y'all hear anything else about the buildings that finally get lined out?
The building.
You know, over at the transfer station.
We've signed off on substantial completion. They came in and they got most everything done. There's a couple things that still yet to be done. They started doing the interior office partitions, and the heavy rains we had there a few weeks ago, they had an additional leak, so they had to hold up a little bit until they could come in. I went ahead and we signed off on getting heat into that side. They came and installed the main trunk line and everything in there for that. So they've got heat. They have started working now. I think they've got the leak repaired. As far as the outside grade work, everything's pretty much done. The new drains on top, they've still got plugs in them. They're not actually draining yet, but most of the grade work routing the water into them has been done. So we haven't done another final inspection yet, so they may still have just a couple of small items left to finish up. Paving's been done on the lower section for the truck lane down there, so that was the key thing we wanted to really get done before cold weather set in.
TSA getting along okay?
Yeah, as far as I know, Tracy's been pretty busy. They had some unexpected issues with their records that they thought they had more saved than what they did, but he sent me an email today and said that he's going to be off a little next week, but we're going to try to get together first or second week of January and sit down and talk about the space they've got and monetary issues as far as them using that space. So we'll get that resolved hopefully in the next month.
I went by there last week after the radio meeting, was gonna try to catch him, he wasn't there. You know, they've got a little makeshift desk, files, just people coming in and out. I'd say they got their hands full right now.
Yeah.
All right, Lonesome Pine Office on Youth, we got anybody yet?
Motion to table.
Okay, motion to table. Second that motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. South, West Virginia Medical Service Council,
I do, Mr. Chairman. Frida Ayers.
okay. Rita Ayers, all in favor? Or you got a
I'll second.
second it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. And Upper Tennessee River Roundtable. Sean Morris is now on there. Do we have
I'll make a motion for Sean Morris to remain
Okay, second?
And I'll include Bill Carter as alternate in that. Take care of
Okay,
both
oh,
of
that
them.
take it, okay.
on.
So that's two, we got,
Is that all right?
Yeah.
That's your motion.
that's your motion? Okay, you second the motion for both of them?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, then, turn it over to Mr. Poe, Ely Water Project resolution.
Okay, we did one of these similar to this. It's basically an intent to appropriate funds. This is not the actual formal appropriation because as of yesterday, we hadn't even been notified that we had the grant. But when we met with them, they sent a text and had them actually send that. But this is a requirement. We did this for the ARC portion of the funds. This is for the Community Development Block Grant portion of funds for the Edendale Water Project. In combination, those two grant sources are fully funding this replacement. So again, this doesn't technically appropriate the funds. It just says that as the project proceeds, the county will appropriate them when they're ready to be received. This is a grant requirement that we have this before we can get under contract with them.
So what do we need to do?
Need a motion to adopt resolution
Resolution.
16-037.
So
Okay.
moved.
So moved, and I so second. All in favor? Any opposed? None? Okay, resolution 16-037 is approved. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we got another, under
The
D.
interagency agreement for this project, this is agreement between, since the county is the recipient of the block grant funds, and the PSA actually carries out the project and hires the construction to be done, we have to have an interagency agreement between the two parties. This is the agreement between the county and the PSA. It basically lays out what the county's responsibilities are and what the PSA's responsibilities are. It's a standard form or standard agreement that we have used on many projects in the past. There is one change from the version that you have, and I just got that yesterday. There's a couple of changes, actually. There are 6 places in the agreement where it says, uses the word drawdown, and in lieu of the word drawdown, we have substituted the word remittances, and that is at DHCD's request. And then there's a couple of areas in there where we either added or moved the DHCD acronym within one of the paragraphs. The representative yesterday, when he was looking over this and reviewing it, came up with those 2 suggestions that they be changed before it be approved. So nothing material to the agreement whatsoever, just a change of a word primarily. So if you will adopt it as amended, that would be good.
Okay, I hear a motion to adopt as amended. So moved. So second, all in favor? Any opposed? No, it's approved. Okay, emergency communication system.
Just a very brief update. We met with Motorola last Wednesday. We'd met with them some before as we were developing the project, but since the board made the sole source determination, this is the first time we had met with them. Still have a little bit of information to gather for them on total number of radios. We'd gathered information on the total number that that we had as far as law enforcement, also the total number that all fire departments and rescue squads in the county had, but several of those include personal radios that they have in personal vehicles. So we're looking at only the number of actual vehicles or equipment that they have that go out on call. So Mr. Bailey is running those numbers down. We'll get those back to Motorola. Discussed with them some options on where we may be able to go with additional tower sites, and looking at 2 or 3. Of course, we know the area in the western part of the county that we want to construct one on, but we're looking for a 3rd tower site somewhere in the in the east central area or the northern portion of the county that would be able to be accessed from here. So that'll continue to move forward. Hopefully we'll be able to get our information to them within the next few days, and we'll be waiting on them to get some pricing back to us, preliminary pricing. So that project is moving forward. So that's about all I have. If Mr. Cope or Mr. Leonard have anything else they'd like to add to that, they were both at the meeting. So.
I think it'd be a good thing. The actual school system also is trying to, while we're getting a better deal on the number of radios we're getting, they're looking highly at actually putting them in the school bus systems and getting their own channel. And so there was a lot of, Dr. Austin was there, and there was a lot of extra information brought up. And we did discuss on the being able to trade in what radios we had. They led us to believe that they would honor that, especially with the number that we was looking at. And one of the big things, if it does move forward, instead of waiting for all the towers to get up and all the actual sites and everything, we're gonna move forward on hopefully get some radios and then add that on as we come. So that was pretty much the biggest gist of the league. I thought it was a real good meeting.
Yeah, well,
And Mr. Chairman, other maybe skip on down since the county
Yeah.
attorney's not here. The only thing I would have under reports and recommendations, I did send out a text to all of you last week about the legislative reception that's coming up January 26th. I do need, I need to know this week, I need to know hopefully tomorrow or Thursday if you do plan to attend, so that we can go ahead and get the room reservations made. So if you get back to me and let me know. I'm getting a no, I think, up here. Tax season's almost upon us. So just let me know. As I said, we typically go up that morning. We haven't scheduled any meetings with any agencies in several years now. So if you are interested, it would be the 26th and the 27th that you'd be tied up. We travel up that morning. The reception is the evening of the 26th, and we travel back on the 27th.
Was that Friday, Thursday?
Thursday and Friday. The only other thing I have is a request for a closed session. This would be fairly brief under personnel.
Okay, I'll poll the board here. Robert, do you have anything you want to?
I don't.
Mr. Cole?
No, sir.
Larry?
No.
Dee Dee?
No.
And Charlene, I don't.
And if I could, one other thing, just need to make mention of the holiday schedule, upcoming holiday schedule. All county offices will be closed this coming Friday, December 23rd, and Monday, December 26th for Christmas. And for New Year's, we'll be closed on Monday, January 2nd.
Okay. Okay, who has the paper?
I got it here,
Got it there?
closed session under 2.2-3711, 8.1, employment personnel.
All right.
Second.
All in favor of going in closed session?
Aye.